Hey guys, and welcome to my first ever movie review video. Now this video is full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen it and you like Spider-Man, then I'd recommend you go out and see it. Also a reminder that these are just my opinions and you shouldn't take anything that I say to heart, because I do think it's a pretty good film. I'm really just going to go over some of the things that the movie did very well and some of the things that I think they could have worked on. I'm also not an expert in movie production or anything of the sorts. I just like movies and I've been wanting to do some sort of review for a while now. So yeah, let's begin. Now this was my actual first viewing of the new Spider-Man movies. When this movie came out like 4 years ago, I didn't really care for superheroes all that much, and I thought the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans were great as they are. But after watching Into the Spider-Verse, I thought I'd give it a shot. Now I do think the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans are a little more superior in my opinion, but I did quite enjoy myself, and I'm going to tell you why. Now one of the things that I noticed while watching the movie that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about is the way that they throw you off the trail of the love interest. Now throughout the movie you're led to believe that this character Liz is going to be the main lover of Peter Parker, but it's revealed in the end that boom, she's gone, and now there's an antisocial girl named Michelle, or MJ as her friends call her. And if you've ever seen a Spider-Man movie, you know what's going on here. And I absolutely love how they did that. It was so well done. And yes, I know Zendaya is a much more popular actress than the other girl, but still, I think the switch was nice to show that the writers were not scared to do something different. And I thought the payout was well worth it at the end. And speaking of payout, let's talk about the villain. So the villain in this Spider-Man is none other than the Vulture. And yes, he's played by Michael Keaton. What I found interesting about this villain is that he's not trying to rule the world or even destroy it. He's just, in fact, a normal American dad who's trying to provide for his family.
I want you to understand, I'll do anything to protect my family.
And this can really make you feel for the villain, you know, when he's not trying to kill Peter Parker. I mean, come on, the first scene that you meet him in, he's being told he can't do his job here because the government doesn't want him to. And he's all like, I got a family. And they're like, we don't give a shit. Tony Stark, have a nice day. And who is the villain's family, you might be wondering? Well, that would be none other than our main love interest throughout the movie, your girl Liz. So you see what I mean when I said they weren't scared to take some risks here. And probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when Peter goes to Liz's house to take her to dance, and bang, it's Michael Keaton. And the whole ride to the school is just awkward, and you start to feel like Peter's in danger, but all the while, Liz is giving more and more hints to her dad about Peter's identity that she knows nothing about. And it's just this consistent battle in your brain to be scared for Peter, but also laugh at the situation he got himself into. And this really just shows how great Tom Holland and Michael Keaton are as actors. And this really just flows on my next point about how great the actors in this movie are. I mean, it's to be expected in a blockbuster movie, but still, it's worth commending them for. I mean, Tom Holland has easily become my favorite actor of this generation, just with this role alone. He knows just how to tear your heart out when he needs to, he knows how to make you laugh, and how to make an awkward situation, for sure. So all I have to say to the actors and actresses who worked in this movie is bravo, you guys literally killed it. Now going along with the performances of these actors, you really see how emotional this movie can get. Like in the one scene where Tony Stark takes back the suit and says you don't deserve it, so give it back, and just the range of emotions that are on Tom Holland's face are just fantastic.
What if somebody had died?
I was just trying to be like you.
I wanted you to be better. I'm gonna need the suit back.
But I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Because you realize he is just a kid, he's in high school, and you really do feel for him. What this one part of the movie reminded me of was the one scene in Spider-Man 3 where MJ breaks up with Peter and he goes through this whole range of emotions in his face where he's talking about he can do better and how he can change just so MJ doesn't break up with him. And that scene is still very powerful to this day for me. Because you believe that they can be better. But you also see behind the scenes of what none of the characters do. You see how hard it is to be Spider-Man, but you also see how hard it is to be Peter Parker. Also, a little side note before I get into the things they could have done a little bit better, I really did like the webs in the movie and the way that they were so precise in where they were shot. It really helped you realize he doesn't just shoot his webs all willy-nilly, but he shoots them with purpose. And that's all. Anyways, moving on to things I think they could have improved on. Now, I originally was going to tear into this movie, but in reality, I had nothing to really tear into. I really enjoyed this film, so I had a pretty hard time finding some improvements that I would have liked in the movie, but I came up with a couple. So one of my favorite parts in the old Spider-Man movies is knowing what happened to Peter in order to give him these powers. You know, like getting bit, then figuring out his power and how to help people and stop crime. Yet none of that is ever in this movie. It's never explained except for one small scene where he says, "I got bit from a spider," and that's it. That's all we know from him. And I really would have liked for a little more backstory in that. I also think this would have helped the audience to know what his powers actually are, you know, since he can't shoot webs from himself anymore. I'm serious, I'm not a big comic book reader. Hell, I've never even read a Spider-Man comic. So coming into this movie, I was like, what can he do? Obviously, he does whatever a spider can do, but is he just strong? Is he just fast? Can he jump really high? Well, yes. I guess what I'm trying to say is I get why they took away his ability to shoot webs from his wrist because of obviously gross, but I feel like it just takes away from what made the other Spider-Mans so cool, which was the fact that he could shoot webs from whenever he needed to, with or without gadgets. This might just be a small thing, but it sort of just takes away from how unique the other Spider-Man was, and I actually just hate to see it go. Alright guys, well that's gonna wrap up how I felt about watching Spider-Man Homecoming for the first time. I came into it thinking it was gonna be a fun watch, and I was not disappointed. It was a very fun watch. And I do believe that everyone who hasn't seen it already should go out and watch it. And I hope you guys enjoyed my first ever review / my own take on movies. And if you guys have any suggestions for future ones that you want me to see, make sure to just leave a comment and I'm sure I'll get to it eventually. But until next time, peace.